After choking to death on an apple, I woke up as Snow White in a fairy tale. When my mother the queen was pregnant, she pricked her finger with a needle, let the blood drip as a sacrifice, and prayed that I would have skin as white as snow and lips as red as rouge. Sure enough, when I was born, I had fair skin and delicate beauty, red lips and white teeth, so they named me Snow White. Not long after, my mother passed away, and my father the king married me a young and beautiful stepmother. The stepmother was breathtakingly gorgeous, and her daily hobby was dressing up and then asking a magic mirror hanging on the wall, "Mirror, mirror, tell me, who is the most beautiful woman in the world?" The mirror would answer, "My dear queen, you are the most beautiful woman in this world." And she'd be happy for an entire day. Such an easily satisfied woman, honestly, I could cry. As I grew older day by day, my beauty began to shine through, and even the little animals near the palace were drawn to me. That's how I gained the skill of taming beasts. Wolves, tigers, leopards, wild boars, even great black bears from the forest, all ended up under my command. Of course, no one knew. To outsiders, I was just that strange princess who spent all day chatting with birds, squirrels, and butterflies. On my 16th birthday, as usual, I snuck off to eavesdrop on my stepmother and her mirror. People say I'm a freak for talking to animals every day, then what about her talking to a mirror every single day? That's supposed to be normal? All dressed up, my stepmother stood before the mirror. "Mirror, mirror, tell me, who is the most beautiful woman in this world?" The mirror, which always flattered her as the fairest of them all, suddenly changed its tune. "My dear queen, you are indeed beautiful, but Snow White is 10,000 times more beautiful than you." Hearing this, my stepmother's face darkened, her fists clenched, and she was just about to turn wicked. I immediately burst out from the corner and slapped that mirror hard across the face. "You vile mirror! How dare you sow discord between me and my mother? Your intentions are despicable. Guards, drag this worthless mirror out and burn it at once." The mirror screamed in terror, "I'm only telling the truth. Snow White really is the most beautiful woman in the world." My stepmother was utterly shocked. "Snow White? What are you doing here? Did you hear everything just now?" Then her eyes filled with tears as she choked out, "Now you're the most beautiful woman in the world. Are you satisfied? Are you happy? I'll kill you, rip out your heart and liver, and fry them to eat." I slapped her hard across the face. "Seriously? You're still hung up on competing with me? Do you even realize father is gravely ill and won't live much longer? You have no children of your own. I'm the only heir to the throne. If you kill me, who's going to rule the kingdom? You? With that pig brain of yours that only knows how to dress up and talk to a mirror, this country would be conquered in no time, our home destroyed, our people ruined." Stunned by my slap, my stepmother covered her face, glaring at me with hurt and fury. "You! How dare you hit me?" I gently cupped her cheek and sighed. "Such a beautiful woman, even angry, you're still gorgeous." Then I held her head and turned her face toward the mirror. "Look at yourself. So fair, so lovely." That slap made your skin glow red against the white. "That's not a handprint, it's blush." Then I slapped her other cheek as well. "There. Now it's symmetrical. Even prettier." My stepmother was completely dumbfounded, her face swelling, her eyes wide in shock. "You." I kicked the mirror and pressed a dagger against its surface. "I'll ask you one more damn time, who the hell is the most beautiful woman in the world?" The mirror whimpered pitifully. It's Snow White. I glared, and it immediately changed its tune. "It's the queen. The queen. The queen is the most beautiful woman in this world." Only then did I soften my expression, smiling as I looked at my stepmother. "See? Happy now?" She glanced at the mirror, lips trembling, unable to speak. I helped her up and sat her down in a chair. "Don't overthink things. Just take good care of father, alright? In my eyes, you're the most beautiful." Then I slammed the dagger deep into the table. "From now on, if anyone dares speak nonsense to you and tries to drive a wedge between us, I'll personally send them straight to God." The mirror shrieked in terror. I won't. I'll never dare again." I sneered coldly, threatening it. "I don't ever want to hear the word beauty about me again. Because I'm not aiming to be the fairest, I'm going to be the strongest woman. Mirror, mirror, tell me, who is the most powerful woman in the world?" The mirror immediately groveled. "You are. Mighty Snow White, you are the strongest woman in the world." I lifted my stepmother's chin, leaning in close. "Mother, you're the most beautiful, and I'm the strongest. I promise you, when I become queen, you'll be Empress Dowager. I'll guard your beauty forever, and you'll always be the most beautiful woman in the world." In my stepmother's eyes, there was still a trace of fear, but behind it, I faintly caught a glimpse of admiration, even a spark of desire. For now, the conflict between us was resolved. With father gravely ill, I held full control over state affairs. But since I had not yet reached 18, my stepmother ruled from behind the curtain, governing the kingdom alongside me. That useless mirror, disgraced for its reckless words, was tossed into a corner to gather dust. My stepmother never trusted it again. Yet she often dressed to the nines, draped in expensive jewels, and would stroll into my study while I reviewed memorials, just to flaunt her beauty before me. "Your Highness," she would ask, "tell me, who is the most beautiful woman in the world?" And I would reply, "Of course it's you, my beautiful queen, my dearest mother." Her face remained composed, but her eyes shone with delight, her demeanor shy as a young maiden's, and she would skip away happily. The Minister of Finance once asked me, "Your Highness, why don't you tell the Queen that this year's drought caused a poor harvest? You reduced taxes to ease the people's burden, but that left the treasury nearly empty. There is hardly any money left for the Queen's luxurious gowns and exquisite jewels." I shook my head. I already vowed to forever protect her beauty, to let her remain the most beautiful woman in the world. My word is ironclad, I will not break it. This matter must never reach her ears. But tell me, is there any way to resolve this urgent crisis? The Minister of Finance looked at me with bitter frustration. That woman must be an evil witch. How else could both you and your father be so bewitched by her? Seeing my displeasure, he pursed his lips, his thick mustache twitching as he said, "Legend has it that in the dense forests to the east, there lies a kingdom that has slept for 100 years. Then he told me the story of Sleeping Beauty. I shook my head again and again as I listened. They had 13 witches, yet because there were only 12 golden plates, they invited only 12, which led the 13th to curse the princess, and the whole kingdom fell into slumber. That king and queen were truly foolish. Still, that princess received the blessings of 12 sorceresses, stacking her with buffs, one of which was the most precious of all, wealth. If only I could claim it for myself. Clearly, the Minister of Finance was thinking the same thing. Your Highness, you mean to... I curled my lips into a smile. Notify the captain of the guards. Assemble my personal guard at once. I'm going to seek out that sleeping kingdom and its sleeping beauty. While I'm away, the queen shall temporarily oversee state affairs. My stepmother, in tears, came running after me when she heard I was about to set out on campaign. Snow White, where are you going? I smiled and explained, they say in the deep eastern forests lies a slumbering kingdom, buried with countless treasures. A beauty like you, mother, deserves only the rarest of jewels. Naturally, I must retrieve them for you. Her eyes brimmed with tears, touched and shy all at once. Pouting, she said softly, then, come back quickly. Seemingly still uneasy, she handed me a mirror. Take this magic mirror with you, it might come in handy. In my heart, I thought, good grief, mother, it's not that I say this mirror is useless, it's that it truly is useless. But since it was her token of affection, I couldn't refuse. I passed the mirror to the captain of my guards. Keep this safe, Her Majesty's gift must not be lost. My stepmother and I parted reluctantly, she looking back 3 times with every step. Take some apples with you, Snow White, she called after me. I replied, that really won't be necessary. She insisted, these apples, I've laced them with poison magic. If you run into anyone with ill intent, offer them one. I nodded. Oh, then I'll take a few. Not that I mean to poison anyone, just to have them with me. And so, carrying the mirror my stepmother had given me and a whole sack of poisoned apples, I left the castle and set out on my treasure-hunting journey. Riding on horseback, I held up the mirror, which had conveniently shrunk down to palm size. Mirror, mirror, tell me, where can I find the 7 dwarfs' cottage? The mirror froze. Weren't you heading east, to the enchanted forest, to seek the sleeping kingdom? I curved my lips into a strategic smile. That kingdom has been cursed, asleep for 100 years. By now it's become a den of monsters. Not only are demons crawling everywhere, but a dragon guards the sleeping princess's castle. Without divine weapons, what can we do? Just march in with a few men and a bag of poisoned apples, only to get ourselves killed. The dwarves are master smiths. First, we'll gear up. The captain of the guards lit up with excitement. Your Highness is truly wise. Guided by the mirror, we soon found the dwarf's wooden cabin. I led my men to hide nearby, and sure enough, we spotted 7 short fellows with big beards and pointy hats, singing as they chopped, mined, and hauled materials back home. Then they swung their muscled arms, hammering away with booming strikes as they forged weapons. The captain of the guards exclaimed in delight, Your Highness, that's Damascus steel, the finest material for forging blades. But look at what they're making, sickles? Hoes? Iron tongs? Oh, my God, they're squandering it. Then he turned to me. Your Highness, give the order. These dwarfs are secretly forging iron tools, surely a crime most vile. Allow me to lead the guard, capture them, seize their steel, and forge divine weapons with which to slay the dragon for you. I shook my head, giving him a very disapproving look. No. The dwarfs are simply living quietly in the forest, crafting ordinary farm tools. They have no treasonous intent. How could we arrest them on such baseless charges? The dwarves are a proud and fiery race. If we provoke them, who will forge blades for me then? The captain looked ashamed. Your Highness speaks the truth. It was my short-sightedness. Then, how do you intend to win the dwarfs over? Ah, that's where the original fairy tale comes in. I shed my cloak and riding gear, tied on a red ribbon headband, slipped into a blue and yellow dress, and barged straight into the dwarf's little cabin. The place looked like a frat house run by 7 burly men, absolutely filthy. So I ordered a few guards to scrub the place clean, wash all the bed sheets and covers, and then I whipped up some food with the ingredients on hand. Exhausted, I collapsed onto one of the little beds and drifted off to sleep. Half dreaming, half awake, I heard voices murmuring around me. Her skin is as white as snow. Her lips are as red as blood. She washed our clothes and sheets, cleaned the house, and even cooked for us. She truly is the most beautiful, kindest, and most diligent girl in the world. Good. So my cooking wasn't in vain. I opened my eyes, pretending to wake slowly, rubbing them gently. And you are? The 7 dwarfs introduced themselves one by one. We're the 7 dwarfs. We live in this forest, farming, logging, mining, and forging tools to sell to the farmers in town. I praised them warmly. You're all so hardworking. Then I introduced myself. I am the princess of this kingdom, you may call me Snow White. The current queen is my stepmother. She's extravagant and wasteful, draining the treasury and leaving the people to suffer. I've heard that in the enchanted forest to the east lies a slumbering kingdom, filled with countless treasures. These treasures could save the treasury from crisis and rescue the people from misery, but a dragon guards the castle where the treasure lies. With our ordinary, low-grade weapons, we can't even pierce its hide. To tell you the truth, I've long admired your names. The outside world says you are 7 legendary masters of the forge. With that, I bowed deeply before them. Masters, I beg you, grant me divine weapons so that I may slay the dragon, bring back the treasure, and save my suffering people. The 7 dwarfs froze. Huh? Divine weapons? Your Highness, you overestimate us. We only forge ordinary farm tools. I casually picked up a sickle at my side and slashed it against the corner of the wooden table. The table leg snapped clean off with a crisp crack, the cut perfectly smooth, sharp as could be. The sickle's edge gleamed cold and lethal, utterly unscathed. Masters, you're far too modest. This is by far the sharpest and toughest weapon I've ever seen. Then, pretending to wince as though it pained me to part with the offer, I said, if the 7 masters would be willing to forge weapons for me, I am prepared to grant you a winter's worth of grain and meat. On top of that, each of you shall receive a cow and 10 sheep. Once the task is complete, you'll be rewarded even further. So, what do you say? The dwarfs lit up with joy at the mention of food for the winter. They immediately agreed to my request. That night, the captain of my guards and I sat inside, drinking and chatting merrily with the 7 dwarfs, while the rest of my men camped outside the cottage. By the next morning, the dwarfs had melted down all their farm tools. It took them a full month of hard labor, but in the end, they produced enough Damascus weapons to arm my entire company. Not only blades and swords, but also armor and bows. The guards were overjoyed as they donned the armor and tested the weapons. What sharp weapons! Your Highness! With these in hand, we'll surely defeat the dragon, claim the treasure, and relieve the people's suffering. The eldest of the 7 dwarfs stepped forward and handed me a long sword. Your Highness, this one we forged especially for you. It's a little slimmer than a normal blade, about a third lighter as well, much easier to wield, but just as powerful. The rose engraved on the hilt is like you, princess, delicate and beautiful on the outside, yet covered in thorns, soft in appearance but steel within. I was deeply moved, eyes brimming with tears. Good, good, good. Now, could you perhaps enchant my sword? The 7 dwarfs froze again. Enchant it? I explained, yes, forge it with magical materials, temper the steel with them. The weapon will then gain magical properties. In short, it becomes stronger and better. The dwarfs exchanged thoughtful looks. Oh, and what material does your Highness wish to use? I held out the sack of poisoned apples my stepmother had given me and pulled out the biggest, reddest ones. These will do. And so, the 7 dwarfs enchanted my sword with 8 poisoned apples. The finished blade gleamed with ornate rose-like patterns etched across its surface, faintly glowing with a dark crimson light. It was imbued with deadly poison. Any creature, plant, or beast that so much as brushed against it would drop dead instantly. The dwarfs beamed with pride at the sword's power. Your Highness, please give this blade a name. I declared, very well, let it be called the Sword of Poisoned Apples. From this day on, it shall be my personal weapon. Leaving the dwarf's forest cottage behind, I set out with the Sword of Poisoned Apples and my fully armed guard, marching toward the slumbering kingdom. As for the 7 dwarfs, I left them with food and a few men to guard and protect them. Such talent must never be allowed to slip away. But my foolish stepmother is a shallow beauty worshipper. She only knows how to admire shiny, useless things. If she ever saw the dwarfs and their weapons, she'd surely sneer at their appearance and mistreat them. Then all my effort to win them over would be wasted, wouldn't it? Just as we were leaving the forest, we ran into a man who looked to be in his 40s. Seeing my well-armed company, he puffed himself up arrogantly. I am a handsome prince. I've heard that in your lands there lives a peerless beauty called Snow White. He didn't even finish his sentence before I understood. I casually handed him a poisoned apple. I am Snow White. Prince, you must be weary from travel, have an apple. The old prince fell head over heels for me at first sight, drooling as he bit into the poisoned apple. And then, he dropped dead. The 7 dwarfs, too kind-hearted to leave him there, brought out a crystal coffin and laid him inside. Oh, this was a prince. To choke on an apple and die, how pitiful. I only shrugged. Do as you like. From the dwarf's cottage to the enchanted forest in the east was a 3-day journey. Since we had already lost a whole month at the dwarf's place, I ordered a forced march. We would reach the forest in just 1 day. That night, the captain of my guards wanted to find a cabin for me to rest in. Deep in the woods, we spotted the glow of candlelight from a little wooden house. He stepped forward to knock, but I stopped him. In these remote mountains, the owner of such a place is likely a recluse, shy of strangers. If a man goes knocking, it might put them on edge. Better that I knock myself. You wait here. Everyone knows that in a fairy tale world, cabins in the forest are never ordinary. Who could say what might answer the door? Sure enough, when I knocked, a big gray wolf wearing a dress and a bonnet poked its head out. You must be Little Red Riding Hood. I'm your grandmother. I glanced down at my red cloak and, almost by reflex, pulled out the magic mirror. Mirror, mirror, tell me true, is this really my grandmother? The mirror replied, though it's dressed to look human, it is no human at all, but an evil big bad wolf. The real grandmother has been swallowed whole, she's still alive, but barely. My eyes narrowed in fury. Monster wolf, how dare you eat people? Taste my blade. I drove the poison apple sword straight through the wolf's heart. The venom coursed through it instantly, ending its life on the spot. With a swift slice, I split open the wolf's belly and freed the true grandmother, who was still clinging to life. Just then, a little girl of about 10, wrapped in a red cloak and carrying a basket, came running up. Grandmother, you're safe. Then she turned to me, her eyes lighting up in awe. This beautiful lady, who are you? Using the wolf's pelt, I wiped the blood from my blade, slid the poison apple sword back into its scabbard, and smiled. I'm Snow White. Passing through these woods, I only sought a place to rest for the night. Who could have guessed I'd stumble upon a man-eating demon wolf? Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother, weeping with relief after her brush with death, trembled as she spoke. Yes, Little Red. Princess Snow White is wise and mighty. She slew the wolf with a single strike and cut me free from its belly. She dropped to her knees before me. My life was spared by your highness. From this day forth, we vow to serve you unto death. Whatever command you give, we shall obey without question. The grandmother was pushing 80, hardly of use to me. But Little Red, raised in these woods and knowing every path and hollow, could serve as a guide. So I set out wine, bread, and sausages to host them for the night, then, come morning, took Little Red with me on the road. True enough, she knew the land inside out. No matter which path we took, we kept running into monsters. I'd already captured 8 witches alone. The ground was littered with loot and trinkets from their gear. Each one was a rare talent, adept in magic, alchemy, curses, and potion craft, so I had them all brought back with us. As for the monsters, my guards cut them all down, doing the people a fine service by ridding the land of pests. The little girl's worship and adoration for me grew to an almost fanatical level, plain as day. Snow White is the strongest woman in the whole world. Your Highness, you're so cool. Little Red vows to follow you to the death. Oh my god, do you all know? My master is none other than the great Princess Snow White herself. Though her bragging drew enough aggro to stretch a 1-day journey into 3, the Royal Propaganda Office could really use someone like her. After countless trials and dangers, we finally hacked our way through to the castle of the Sleeping Kingdom. Above it circled a massive dragon, its colossal wings blotting out the sky. Lofty and proud, it didn't so much as glance at us humans, small as ants beneath it. Ha ha ha, none can match me. I am the great dragon, Dalabangba. The princess is mine, and no one shall take her from me. Except the princess has been dead for 100 years. Could it be, mighty dragon, that you have necrophilic tastes? The castle soared 100 yards high, its entrance long sealed off by rubble and brambles. Overhead, the dragon kept watch. Getting inside would be no easy feat. Just as I was at my wit's end, a witch in black robes strolled up to the base of the castle and called upward. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Moments later, from a small window high above, a cascade of golden hair unfurled. It was long, strong, and rope-like. The witch seized hold and swiftly climbed her way up. I exchanged a glance with Little Red, and in each other's eyes we both read the same thing, so that's how it is. I, the great Princess Snow White, slayer of witches. This witch? She's ours. After a few hours of waiting, the castle's witch finally climbed back down the golden rope of hair. My captain of the guard pounced, pinning her to the ground. Stay still. Swear fealty to the great Princess Snow White, and you may yet live. The witch's eyes went wide in shock. You're, Snow White? You're the one who captured my sisters? You. Before she could finish, Little Red deftly stuffed a hunk of bread in her mouth. Take her away, she chirped, then looked up at me eagerly. Your Highness, did I do well? I patted her head. Well done. Then I walked up to the base of the castle and, mimicking the witch's voice, called out, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Sure enough, a long golden braid came tumbling down. I grasped it and climbed swiftly up to the top of the castle. Mother. Rapunzel thought the witch had returned, but when she saw my face, she froze. Who are you? Little Red Riding Hood jumped out from behind me. This is the great Princess Snow White. We're here to save you. We know your whole story. Rapunzel stared for a moment, then her eyes welled with tears. Really? You truly came to rescue me? But then her expression darkened. You should leave. My foster mother is a very powerful witch. She'll kill you. Oh, she's actually kind of considerate. I gently placed a hand on Rapunzel's trembling shoulder and soothed her softly. It's all right. Your foster mother has already been captured by us. She'll never imprison or control you again. You're free now. With that, I seized her floor-length golden hair and slashed it apart with a single stroke. From this moment on, never let these locks hold you captive again. Rapunzel was overwhelmed with gratitude. Your Highness, thank you for saving me. I don't even know how to repay you. I patted her shoulder to comfort her. Then I handed the long hair to Little Red Riding Hood, braided into a rope and pulled a captain and the others up. Afterward, I smiled gently at Rapunzel. That will be the best way you can repay me. Look at you. Don't you look so much sharper with short hair? Rapunzel was overcome with emotion. Your Highness, for such great kindness, I have no way to repay you. I swear I'll follow you until death. Good. Are you familiar with this castle? I've heard there's a sleeping princess here. Having lived in the castle for years, Rapunzel indeed knew the layout and the location of Sleeping Beauty. Leaving Little Red Riding Hood behind to help the captain and the others, I had Rapunzel lead me straight to the palace where Sleeping Beauty lay. 100 years is no small thing. The castle was covered in cobwebs and thick layers of dust. By the time we found Sleeping Beauty, she was practically caked in grime. As I carefully wiped the dust from her face with a handkerchief, Rapunzel muttered sourly, "So this is the sleeping princess? Nothing special. True love's kiss? What a joke. Who would ever want to kiss something this filthy?" Before she could finish, a dragon's roar thundered across the skies above the castle. Suddenly, the shadow of a massive dragon burst in through the shattered window. Who dares try to steal away my princess? I pulled Rapunzel behind me, drew my sword, and pointed it straight at the dragon. I am Snow White. And who are you? The dragon froze, staring at me in confusion. Another princess? My family's oath is to guard a princess and take her as my bride. But now there are two. I curled my lips into a sly smile. Then of course she must guard the prettiest one. Pulling out the magic mirror, I commanded, "Mirror, mirror, tell me, who is the most beautiful princess in the world?" The mirror, already well trained to obey me, declared loudly, "Though Sleeping Beauty of this kingdom is fair, the great Princess Snow White is 1,000 times more beautiful." The dragon's eyes lit with sudden realization. "So you are my bride?" I stepped forward slowly, pressing my sword against its massive shoulder. "In that case, shouldn't you be kneeling down to propose?" The dragon's hide was indeed thick, even the poison of the poison apple sword couldn't pierce its defenses. But the beast was utterly bewitched by me. After all, my greatest stat has always been my beauty. The dragon lowered its massive body, bowing at my feet until its head touched the tip of my shoe. I said, "Mighty dragon, swear your oath, declare your loyalty to me." A look of obsession gleamed in its eyes. My beast-taming buff never fails. With solemn gravity, it proclaimed, "Beautiful Princess Snow White, I, the dragon Dalabangba, shall forever guard you and remain loyal to you. Should I ever betray you, may I be consumed by flames and reduced to ashes." I looked down at the dragon beneath me, my gaze cool, and answered with just one word, "Good." The dragon blinked. "Good? That's it? I just swore an oath to you. Aren't you supposed to say the same to me? Only then can it form a mutual contract. Otherwise." I let out a mocking laugh, nudging its chin upward with the tip of my shoe. "You swearing loyalty to me, what does that have to do with me?" Then, under the dragon's stunned stare, I parted my lips and declared softly, "I accept your oath, Dragon Dalabangba, as my mount." In the next instant, a flash of white light sealed the contract. The once arrogant dragon was now nothing more than my tamed mount. It clutched its head and wailed in despair, "You tricked me. You deceived my feelings. Snow White, you heartless liar." I nearly laughed myself to death. That just proves your so-called love for Sleeping Beauty wasn't strong enough. Now, it's my turn to kiss the beautiful princess awake. My wealth buff, here I come. I wiped my lips clean and pressed a kiss onto the princess lying in bed. For the wealth buff, I truly had true love, and by rounding up, that meant my love for Sleeping Beauty was true love as well. At my kiss of true love, the princess, asleep for 100 years, awoke. Her eyes opened, met mine, and her cheeks instantly flushed red. But Rapunzel burst into tears and ran out. "Your Highness, how could you kiss her?" "I knew it. A noble princess like you could only ever love another princess, never a plain girl like me." Just then, Little Red Riding Hood arrived with my guards. "Your Highness, 2 princes came to the castle gates. But, one grabbed Rapunzel's hair trying to climb up, fell, got blinded by thorns, and is now a beggar. The other was crushed underneath him and died on the spot." I nodded. Oh, one kidnapper and one necrophile. Nothing worth mourning. Go check on Rapunzel, I'm a little worried about her. Little Red gave me a reassuring look and dashed off after Rapunzel. I was considering whether to explain things to Rapunzel myself when Sleeping Beauty clutched tightly at the hem of my dress. Snow White, don't leave me, I'm scared. You're the first person I saw when I opened my eyes. You're the one who saved me. I love you. I sighed, gently patting the crown of her head. What am I going to do with you? With Sleeping Beauty's awakening, the kingdom that had slumbered for 100 years awakened as well. And just like the legend said, it was overflowing with wealth, chests of jewels, golden tableware, everything shining. But because everyone inside the castle had been asleep for a century, the people outside had long since perished. So the kingdom held treasures aplenty, but no subjects. Naturally, my guards marched right in and claimed it by force. The conquest went smoothly. I pressed my sword to Sleeping Beauty's father's throat and asked, "Most honorable king, my people are suffering famine from the drought and won't survive this winter. Would you, in your generosity, be willing to lend us a few of your surplus possessions?" Sleeping Beauty's father, wise enough to read the situation, not only gifted us several wagon loads of gold but also handed me the entire kingdom. Snow White, if not for you, we'd still be trapped in eternal slumber. My daughter truly loves you. Please, take both my kingdom and my daughter. Well then, I said. Oh, I really couldn't possibly. The king glanced at my poison apple sword, tears welling in his eyes as the queen joined him, both overcome with emotion. Don't be shy. From now on, we're family. So, with the treasure secured, I rode back on the dragon's back, one arm wrapped around Sleeping Beauty, wagons overflowing with gold and silver trailing behind, my guards armed to the teeth escorting a dozen captured witches in chains. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother, no wonder she'd one day be the kingdom's minister of propaganda, had already spread the tale of how I heroically slew the wolf demon, cut open its belly, and saved her life. Soon, everyone in the kingdom knew my story by heart. They knew I had gone treasure hunting only to raise famine relief funds, braving monsters, witches, and beasts along the way. The people's love for me reached unprecedented heights. Snow White risks everything for her country and her people, truly a wise ruler. With such a princess, how blessed we are. Princess? No. She should be our queen. They even discovered, in a massive crater left by a fallen meteor, a stone tablet engraved with 4 characters, Snow White the Great. Snow White for Empress. Snow White for Empress. The crowd roared in unison. And so it was, in the midst of this fervor, that I descended upon the city walls, riding my dragon, the rescued princess in my arms.